Lotus. She stepped toward Ace and drove her fist into his nose. You've got some fire, don't you? I confess, I rather like a tough woman. He sniffed, wiped a small trickle of blood from his nose with a raised eyebrow. Well, maybe you'd like another. Oh, before that, let me give you one of my own. Lotus didn't have time to blink. Ace snaked his arm around her, pulled Lotus's back up against him. In the same motion, he reached into his pocket for the gun. Almost lazily, he tilted it to point at Lotus's head. If any of you so much as blink, I won't hesitate to pull the trigger. I've already killed 3 people. Don't think I'm not ready to make it 4.
3 people? What do you mean?
Very well. Let me take this opportunity to illuminate you. The person who killed the 9th man, me. Though I was supposed to be more accurate, I encouraged him to get himself killed. While we were examining the main staircase, he came to me, told me his name. I recognized it. I gave him a little push. Just a little white lie. It seems the settings for the dead were altered. Now it only requires a single person to deactivate the detonator in the bracelet. Investigate what's beyond door 5. We'll meet again later. Suddenly things make sense, huh? I had 4 reasons for killing him. 1. In the notary game, the number 9 is of the utmost importance. If I'd allowed him to keep such a useful tool, he or it would have become a threat. As such, I decided he should be eliminated early. 2. I wanted the bracelet. If I could manage to obtain it, I'd be able to manipulate the game as I saw fit. I'd be unable to acquire the bracelet unless its owner was dead. 3. Even setting aside his number, he would have been nothing but trouble. He was always aware of my past. He knew well what had happened 9 years ago. It was important I eliminate him before he could disseminate this information. And 4. I wish to conduct a simple test. A test to see if the notary game was serious, or a poor attempt at a joke. I needed to be sure. As such, I encouraged him to act against the rules, so I might observe the outcome. I don't get your third motive. The hell happened 9 years ago? Didn't I say? The notary game. I planned it out. I conducted its execution. Why? What on earth was it supposed to do? I don't really think I have any obligation to tell you. Ace smirked. He was trying to provoke them, and it was working. Ace had paid very little attention to Lotus after catching her. The gun had never wavered from her temple. She looked pale, and when she spoke, her voice shook.
Hey, what's with this gun? Where did he get this?
Why don't you tell her, Santa? On the other side of door 6. We found the gun in the coffin in the cargo room, right? The bastard must have grabbed it when we weren't looking. Indeed I did. That was a pretty serious mistake, you know. Just saying you intended to leave it behind. Well, there isn't much time left. I'll be off.
Where are you going?
Do I really need to explain? I'd assumed it'd be obvious. I have the number 9 bracelet. And I have Lotus. I have a 9. Isn't there a door with a 9 on it in the room that looked like a church? That's where you're going, isn't it? And how do you know that? Santa told me while we were looking for Clover. I see. Well, you are correct. That is my destination. But now, I must say goodbye to all of you. Oh, and please, don't forget my warning. Move, and I pull the trigger. I don't need her alive to open the door, you know. As he spoke, Ace backed toward the door, practically dragging Lotus. Junpei, Santa, June, 7 all stood, frozen. Ace had the face of a man gone mad. They had no doubt he'd pull the trigger. He'd reached the exit. He forced Lotus to open it, turned and addressed them once more. Goodbye. And the door closed behind them. In the blink of an eye, they were gone. As soon as Ace and Lotus were gone, Junpei and the others leapt for the door in pursuit. But as Junpei laid his hand on the doorknob, there was a noise. June was kneeling on the floor, breathing. Hey, June, what happened? You alright? Santa ran to June, wrapped his arm around her before she could collapse. Jeez, you're burning up. Fever's back. You okay? June's fever had returned again for no apparent reason. Her eyes were watery, her eyelids drooped, her breath came in dry, shallow gasps.
I'm okay. Really, I'm fine. You should be worrying about Lotus.
She was breathing hard. She could barely summon the strength to talk. Junpei was torn. He couldn't leave June alone in the state she was in, but every moment they waited, Ace was a little farther. What was he going to do? June's eyes drifted to Junpei's. She managed to muster a weak smile.
Jumpy, don't worry about me. I just need a little rest. I'll be fine. Don't you remember? I just needed to rest a little bit last time. Please, save Lotus.
Think about what Ace has already done, Junpei. Well, he's got what he needs from Lotus. You really think he's gonna let her live? You guys go on ahead. As soon as June starts feeling better, we'll follow. Go! Junpei looked at June. She nodded once. She couldn't manage much more. But it was all the confirmation Junpei needed. Alright, come on, Seven. We're going after Ace. Hell yeah! Santa, you take good care of June. I'm trusting you. Junpei turned before he had a chance to change his mind and started running toward the door. He could hear Seven's heavy footsteps behind him. Let's go! They had finally arrived at the church, exhausted and out of breath. As their lungs struggled to catch their breath, they frantically scanned the room. No sign of Ace or Lotus. You think they already went through? He reached up to wipe a palm full of sweat from his brow. Maybe. Even as he spoke, Junpei was already on his way to the large door. He looked at the red. Vacant. He headed toward the smaller door. Engaged. It's occupied. So Ace and Lotus went through here. Yep. Junpei and Seven stepped away from the door. They retreated to the center of the room and talked. To talk. What do we do now? What do we do? Well, the big door is still vacant, but the two of us can't do anything with it. Yeah, first of all, our digital route isn't 9. But as they were pondering what to do... Get his ass! Yeah, exactly! We want that booty! We want his ace! Wait. A noise like someone hitting a thick wooden panel. Junpei looked up. Seven followed suit. They looked for the source of the sound. Eventually, their eyes were drawn to the altar, or what was on it. Coffin. Yeah. Let's open it. How? By force? I don't think that's gonna happen. Well, you never know till you try, right? The only necessity for success is the willingness to suffer 1,000 failures. Who said that? I forget. Anyway, we gotta try. I think that's a Shang Tsung quote. See? Didn't I tell you? If you could just pull it out, why would I have something like that? 7 pointed at a keypad on the side of the coffin. Right. So unless I put in the right passcode, it's not going to open. The noise hadn't stopped. If anything, it had only gotten louder. What were they supposed to do, Junpei wondered. Was there a clue somewhere? They stood there for a few moments, staring at the coffin, and Seven spoke. Wait, Junpei. I remember you mumbled about some weird numbers over by the bathroom in the first-class cabin. You got them by solving the secret message Clover was holding, right? Truth had gone, or something like that? Yeah, that's right. What about it? Maybe the number's the passcode for this thing, too. Come on, that's impossible. Those numbers were the code to unlock that safe. Yeah, but the person who set up that safe in this coffin is the same person. 0. Probably. Maybe they set the same passcode for both. That's ridiculous. Why don't you try it? I mean, it's not like you'll make things any worse. It'll just be a waste of time. There's no way they're the same number. And now you know that. You never know until you try. The only necessity for success is the willingness to suffer 1,000 failures. Then you said that? You? Fine. He looked at the keypad. Maybe because he'd repeated them so many times before, the numbers came easily to his mind. 14383421. He checked he'd entered the right numbers, took a breath, pressed the E. The lock opened. What? You gotta be kidding me! And with a heavy clunk, the lid of the coffin slid off and onto the floor. And someone sat up from the inside. Snake! You. Why? Those voices. Junpei and Seven, unless I'm mistaken. Where are the others? Are they elsewhere? Of course, there was no reason Snake would have known anything about where anyone else would be. Junpei and Seven looked at one another. There's a great deal he needed to know, but... They had to tell him something, so they began to talk. Snake explained to them how he came to be locked in the coffin. Apparently, he'd been hit with some sort of knockout gas. Junpei and Seven explained what had happened to the rest of them. There was one thing, however, that neither of them could bring themselves to say. That Ace had killed Clover. They feared if Snake knew, he might go insane. They decided as much by a look at the moment Snake had climbed out of the coffin. Snake's story explained frustratingly little. Zero's identity was a mystery, as were their intentions. Why had Zero put Gaiax in Snake's clothes? If Zero had left a note for them to say the notary game had been played 9 years before, was there a connection? Junpei put the question to Snake. His answer less than illuminating. What are you talking about? I apologize, but I have no idea what you're saying. It seemed as though Snake was perhaps not entirely being honest. But that knowledge did Junpei and Seven little good. No matter how many times they asked, he insisted he knew nothing. It was becoming clear Snake wouldn't give in, and every second they spent asking him was a second wasted. Their time limit was approaching. Snake's release from the coffin had changed nothing. They still needed to follow Ace. But... They stood in silence, the overpowering atmosphere of the chapel stifling. Junpei, Seven, and Snake simply stood at a loss for what they should do next. He glanced over at Snake's wrist. What do we do now? Sure enough, Snake still had his number 2 bracelet. The 3 of us can't make a digital route of 9. It would just get 5. We're stuck here. Wait, I remembered something. Seven began patting his pockets as if he were checking to see if any of them had anything. What? What is it? Oh yeah, I found something earlier. What? This? A bracelet. There's no mistaking the number glowing at them from the face like a cartoon eye. 0. What the hell? Are you saying 7 has the number 0 bracelet? Yeah. Where did you get that? Snake's question was innocent, but if he learned the truth, if he'd been able to see, he would have noticed 7 look away. Clover gave it to me. She did? Yeah. How did she come by it? Well, she found it on the other side of the door 1, A deck, in the captain's quarters. She asked me to hold on to it because it was too big and bulky for her to be lugging around. It was a lie. Junpei knew that. Right, Junpei. Been nice knowing you. What? Come on, man. Just kidding. Still, just in case, I want to make sure the 0 bracelet can actually get picked up by the red. Snake, give me a hand. Without waiting for a response, he walked toward the door. Junpei and Snake followed him, quietly. Before long, they found themselves in front of the larger of the 2 doors. 7 and Snake put their palms on the red. Once they'd done that, 7 put the number 0 bracelet on the scanner. A third asterisk. 7, 2, 0 would yield 9. So if they pulled the lever... Huh? Why isn't it opening? Well, the third asterisk lit up, so maybe it registered 0? Maybe it isn't actually a 0. What? That bracelet may not actually produce the number 0 when scanned. That is what I'm saying. Why don't we try a few different combinations? Perhaps we can determine what number that bracelet actually contains? Maybe if Snake and I scan it? If the combination works as it's supposed to, the number is 2. But it's not opening. Maybe if all of us scan? The digital root should be 5 in that case. But it's not... The bracelet isn't 4. Well, if 7 and I scan, we have a digital root of 3. If it works, the bracelet is 6. It opened. Yes, so it would seem. 7 clearly hadn't thought their experiment would actually do something useful, and looked confused. Snake was as usual, calm and smug. The door closed. Junpei's forehead furrowed. So the mysterious number is a 6? But why? Why 6? From somewhere far beneath them, they heard the creak and groan of tearing metal. With it, the sound of water poured into parts of the ship that, until recently, been dry. Yeah, man, that's not good. I guess our time's about up, huh? At any rate, we now know that the door can be opened. Let's go. But, Snake, are you sure? Yeah, you know that only Junpei and I can go through this way, right? You needn't worry. I have a solution to this problem. My last resort, but if now is not the time for last resorts, then what? Last resort? Remember, the bracelet is on Snake's left arm. They ran full tilt down a long, straight hallway, headed for the stern of the ship. No time for distractions. Gotta admit, you really surprised me there, kid. I couldn't figure out how the hell you were gonna get out of that one. How come you didn't do that right off the bat? As I told you, it was a last resort. Had I used it at the beginning of the game, I would have come under a great deal of suspicion. I imagine most people would have taken it to mean I was Zero. Once they convinced themselves of that, I wasn't optimistic about my chances of making it out of here alive, let alone unscathed. I felt it best to play my cards close to the chest, as it were. That way, if I were in a situation where there was nothing else I could do, I'd have a little trick up my sleeve. I'd just take my bracelet off. If the bracelet is supposed to be measuring a person's pulse and can only be removed if the pulse is 0, something that shouldn't produce a pulse shouldn't be a hindrance. He could walk through any door he wanted. All he'd need to do is abandon his bracelet. They kept running for a while longer, and eventually came upon a set of stairs leading downward on the right side of the hallway. They stopped, peered down the staircase. As far as they could tell, it went all the way to the bottom deck. There didn't seem to be any flooding. They nodded quickly to one another, and jogged down the stairs. It took only a few minutes to make their way to the bottom deck. A single hallway, at the end of which was a door. Inside was a massive iron gate. A plate affixed to the top of it. Incinerator. Oh my, that doesn't sound very pleasant. Do you see a lever near the gate, perhaps? Yeah, right over here. How'd you know that? I'd be happy to regale you with the story. I imagine it should only take half a day or two, or so. Ugh. Junpei grumbled, gave Snake a dirty look, jogged over to the lever. If you pull it, the door ought to open. Snake is such a wise ass and I love it. With the rumble of an ancient motor, the door opened. No need to hold back, no time to hesitate. Standing in front of them were Ace and Lotus. Ace still held the revolver, pressed hard against Lotus's temple. A small dark bruise had begun to form near the tip. Even from several yards away, Junpei could see Lotus was shaking, terrified. But maybe more interesting was what Junpei saw behind them. 9. But why? Why was there another one? The door stopped Junpei in his tracks. It shouldn't have been there. As his brain finally began to consider why, the whine of a warning klaxon filled the air, drowning out thought. Warning. Warning. Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. Automatic incineration will take place in 9 minutes. Please evacuate the incinerator immediately. Oh my, how exciting. You've run quite a show here, Zero. A terrifying smile twisted Ace's face. What's the matter? Too frightened to understand? Here, let me explain. It said the incineration system is about to activate. In 9 minutes, this room will be engulfed in flame. Who are you? You don't recognize me? I'm hurt. It's me, Snake. Snake. Oh yes, you are alive. I'm afraid your bizarre style had me confused. I'm quite glad to see you're alive. Ace's voice didn't change. Snake ground his teeth. If you don't mind my asking, how did you get here? Snake, Junpei, 7. 3 of you couldn't have opened a door with a 9. Did you use Clover's bracelet, perhaps? What? Well, your reaction suggests you didn't. Hold on, why do you think we have Clover's bracelet? Oh, they haven't told you. Told me what? Clearly not. Normally, I would take some time, enjoy the moment, but I'm afraid my time is at a premium just now. I'll have to make this quick. Clover, don't do it, Ace. Keep your goddamn mouth shut. Clover, I said stop it. Don't listen to him, Snake. What happened to my sister? Ace looked at him. The corner of his mouth curled into the hook of a cruel smile. Clover died. The color left Snake's face. He shook his head weakly. No, that's not true. That's impossible. It's a lie. It has to be a lie. Oh, it's quite true. I can assure you of that. I killed her myself, you see. What? I'm sorry. Did I stutter? I killed your sister. Snake's face twisted into a mask of rage, mottled red rising to dot his pale skin. His body shook. He looked to Junpei, disturbingly like a demon. I would have rather she died with less suffering. A bullet hit her brain, perhaps, would have been ideal. Unfortunately, that would have made quite a bit of noise. Circumstances being what they were, I was forced to settle for the knife. The one the ninth man had, you remember. I believe I caught her just below the shoulder blade. Rather lucky, in fact. My first thrust went right between the ribs. Flesh was so soft. My knife slid in so easily. There was no resistance. That feeling was... I confess, I feel rather excited. It's a powerful memory. Someday, perhaps, I hope I can feel it again. Insemination will begin in 7 minutes. I'm going to kill you. Snake's words were a guttural growl, barely audible. I'm sorry, what? I'm going to kill you! You're going to kill me. Please, do. Come now, I'm waiting. Don't listen to him, Snake. Stop it, kid. He's screwing with your head. Is there a problem? What are you waiting for, boy? Don't you want me to send you to join your sister? Don't do it! Snake couldn't hear them. He couldn't hear anything anymore. He moved like a bolt of lightning. His scream echoed through the insemination chamber, full of rage and despair. One bullet. Another scream filled the room. Lotus's. She ran across toward Junpei, her eyes wide with terror. Snake's ill-fated attack had loosened Ace's grip. She'd made a run for it. She reached Seven and Junpei, ducked behind them. Junpei could feel her fingers on his arm, tight enough to be painful, keeping him between her and Ace. Insemination will begin in 5 minutes. Give me the woman. I need her. Without her bracelet, I can't open this door. Quickly now. I don't have time for shenanigans. In the center of the room, Snake's body lay eerily still. He looked like a human larva, prone and vulnerable. I see. Then it would seem I have no choice. The rest of you must die as well. Fortunately, I have 5 bullets left. One for Junpei, another for Lotus, the last 3 for that lump of idiotic man you call Seven. I'll take Lotus's body with me. Leave this room. Insemination will begin in 4 minutes. Well, looks like our time together is at an end. I rather enjoyed playing with you. But this is the end of our game. Goodbye. Junpei could see Ace's finger tighten on that trigger. His body tensed, prepared for the hot lead against human flesh. But it never came. That's impossible. I aimed for your heart. Ace's composure broke. With obvious effort, Snake lunged forward, one step closer, then another. He looked for all the world like a zombie.
I'll kill you. I'll kill you.
His voice, the mournful wailing of the undead. Stay away from me. Get back! Stop! If you come any closer, Get away from me! Little by little, Ace retreated. Snake didn't stop. He continued his stiff, inexorable approach, his eyes twin pools of pure fury. Listen to me! I said don't come any closer! Shit, you bastard! Ace's revolver leapt 1, 2, 3, 5 times. The air of the incinerator split by the crack of a bullet. Snake's body twitched as 5 clouds of blood and torn flesh leapt into the air across his body. A fine pink mist drifted and disappeared. Snake made a strange sort of choking cough. And then his strength faded. His legs crumbled, and his broken and battered body slid to the floor. Cinnamon will begin in 3 minutes. Even after 6 bullets had entered him, Snake could still move, even as the pool of blood grew. He half crawled, half slid toward Ace. One bloody arm wrapped itself around his leg. The other gripped his thigh with strength that should have long been gone. You son of a bitch! You're a monster! Get off of me! Let me go, damn you! He kicked at Snake with his free leg, driving his foot into his face, his arm, his shoulder. It made no difference, partially because he aimed at the wrong shoulder. Snake refused to release him. Once a snake ensnares its prey, rarely do they ever let go.
This is it, Ace. We're going to burn to death together.
Cinnamon will begin in 2 minutes. Damn it! Damn you! Get off! Let me go, you monster! Okay, look, think about it this way. My company owns a wonderful hospital. It has excellent doctors. You're not wounded too seriously. They can fix you up. You don't have to die. You can be saved. Just let me go.
Pathetic. Begging for your life. I bet my sister begged before you killed her. Did you listen to her?
You can stop, Snake.
He's right. You've done enough. We should leave together.
Snake turned, coughed blood across the floor toward them, and smiled.
I apologize, but I'm afraid I can't do that. You'd best forget about me. You need to leave soon. I'm going to take him with me.
Be quiet!
I couldn't save Clover. My sister died because I wasn't next to her. Maybe this will atone for everything. Maybe in the afterlife, she can forgive me. You have to go.
Cinnamon will begin in 1 minute.
God damn it.
We're out of time. We have to go. 7 ran toward the exit. Lotus followed, but Junpei couldn't move. White lines down Snake's cheeks where his tears had washed the blood away. He was broken, body, soul, and Junpei felt as though half of his own heart had been torn out too. His eyes stung, and he tried desperately to swallow to clear the lump in his throat.
Junpei, what are you doing? here. Now.
Junpei's chest tightened, pulled taut by anger, misery, and a cold feeling of emptiness. Pure emotion surged through his heart, alongside the torrent of blood. He could feel it building, a tremendous wave growing taller. And then it broke, crashing down with a thunderous force onto his shaken, unprepared mind. Snake. Junpei's rational mind was gone. He was driven by instinct, and he launched himself across the floor. Or tried to.
Hold it! Don't be an idiot, Junpei!
A hand grabbed him. Seven's. Before he had time to react, the larger man had pinned Junpei's arms to his side, hauled him bodily through the door. No! I have to help Snake!
Get off of me! Let go!
Cinnamon will begin in 10 seconds. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Two. 1. 0. Gates 2 and 3 are locked down. Beginning Cinnamon. Junpei felt Seven's fist bury itself deep in his stomach. His legs turned to mush. Seven scooped him up in the same motion and leapt through the door. It slammed shut behind them. Junpei struggled to shaky feet. He glanced over to see Lotus a short distance away. Junpei ran to the door. There was a small window cut out. You could see Ace and Snake.
Why me? I don't deserve this! Answer me, Zero! Why?
He didn't know how much time had passed, and in some way, he didn't really care either. He didn't know how long he stood there in front of the incinerator. He looked to the side. Lois's face was ashen, and if not for the hand she pulled against a wall, Junpei didn't think she could have stood. Seven looked old, tired, used. His eyes stared at the floor, seeing nothing. Junpei said nothing. He walked toward the open door and the hallway they'd come down. Junpei, where are you going? You stay here. I'm going to get Santa and June.
You're gonna bring them here?
How? Don't worry about that. Just stay here and wait. Alright? He looked over his shoulder once, watched Seven and Lotus grow smaller. They stared back, not moving. He wasn't sure if they could. He turned again. He knew where to go. When they'd walked through the hallway earlier, he'd noticed an elevator. If it still worked, then maybe... Junpei found himself in front of the elevator. Next to it, a button with a triangle. He pushed it. The door responded. He made his way to the hospital room. He kept calling, walked to the center of the room, looked for June and Santa. But try as he might, they were nowhere to be found. Damn it! Where did they go? Increasingly frustrated and increasingly worried, Junpei left. He had no choice. He'd have to look. He couldn't shake the feeling, but there was a part of him that felt it would be wrong to abandon them. With every step, his legs felt more and more like lead. He made his way back to the chapel. He expected to find nothing, but on the red carpet... Connie! Like lightning, he ran across the room to her. Connie. As he looked down, lying so still on the floor, he felt the icy grip of fear on his heart. She was still. So very still. It was impossible. Junpei bent down toward her, hands shaking, and he felt cold and hot at the same time. He forced himself to look. Her back was moving. Relief washed over him. Connie! Junpei reached down, lifted her. Connie, are you okay?
Jumpy.
Her face was pale. Her lips were dry and cracked. Her eyes, blank and cloudy. They stared straight at Junpei. But they saw nothing. Trembling, Junpei wrapped his arm around her back. She was cold. Junpei tried to convince himself it was only his imagination, but she felt as though she were fading away. He could feel his heart pounding frantically in his chest. What the hell happened to you? You feel...
Jumpy. I'm sorry.
Her voice was faint.
I might not make it.
No, I'm not gonna let you die. I'm gonna save you, I promise.
Thank you, Jumpy. Thank you so much for everything. I was really happy to see you again.
Don't give me that I was crap. You're gonna see me again lots more times. You've just gotta hang in there, okay, Connie?
Did you know, Jumpy? You meant a lot to me when we were kids. I've liked you for a really long time.
Junpei's vision had grown blurry. It took him a moment to realize his eyes were filled with tears. He could feel a piercing point of heat deep in his heart, like a white-hot flame. He looked to Akane. Game over. Crack of static from above his head, and a voice. 0. You son of a bitch. Where are you hiding? Junpei scanned the ceiling for the source. There were nothing but speakers. I'm right here. I've always been close to you. What the hell are you talking about? No matter. I will kill you again.
Game over. This game has ended.
No, it hasn't. I'm not gonna let it end yet. I'm gonna find a way out with Connie.
That's impossible.
Why?
Because you chose the wrong path.
Wrong path.
Correct? The path was inevitable. Admit defeat. Where there is shadow, there is light. Where there is light, there is shadow. So it goes.
What are you talking about?
It matters not. The loser has been decided.
I'm not gonna lose.
You misunderstand. You haven't lost. I have.
What? Junpei couldn't ponder what that meant before he heard the door slam shut. No one was there. Was it Zero? Honey, wait here. I'll be right back, I promise. Junpei laid her back down, leapt for the door. He yanked it open, shot outside. No one. The hall was empty. There was nothing moving anywhere. Damn it. He didn't want to leave Connie alone any longer than he needed to. Junpei turned around to head back to the chapel. Connie? Mysteriously, she'd disappeared. Almost as if she was just never here. Oh, where is she? His cry split the heavens themselves. He screamed until his voice gave out. Then more still. But there was nothing. No answer. His voice faded, and all that remained was cold, unfeeling silence. And that's when he noticed a smell. One he'd smelled before. The smell of a peculiar white smoke. In 9 seconds, his mind winked out. Within the safe ending, it's implied that Seven and Lotus managed to get out, and to an extent, potentially Santa as well. But what exactly happened with June? And at that, why is Junpei stuck in limbo? We'll find the answers to that eventually. But regardless, this is one of the endings that you need in order to finish the game. The so close but not quite ending. And the reason being that this is where we open the coffin and the safe. Both will be important for a few different reasons. That's the last time I go on a cruise ship. Exactly. But yeah, if I remember correctly, there was another branching path that we could have taken. There was another branching path where we were first introduced to the coffin and we were unable to open it. We can head back there now. Open it, figure a few things out, potentially. Just information, nothing more. And it's an extra scene that you don't need to finish the game. But we could also finish the game. Potentially, we will be doing both next week. But don't think that this project is over. Again, I need to get into contact with Oxanon at some point, because she has a copy of the PC nonary games, and with her help, I would like to show off some of the differences. But that aside, to everyone who's dropped by, thank you so much. I genuinely appreciate the support I get with these streams. Tune in next week, and we can hopefully seek our way out. I usually stream Fridays and Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon. Fridays are my variety day, where I play whatever I feel like it, but otherwise, Saturdays are the day where I do dedicated game clearing, like here. Currently, it's 9 hours, 9 doors, 9 persons, and again, we're coming to the end. If at any point you miss any of these streams, don't worry, they stay up on Twitch for a couple weeks, we then chunk them down and port them over to YouTube. There's a dedicated channel for that, Sage Blake. And at that, if you're ever interested in some of the other games that we end up playing, or just want to get a better schedule, drop into our Discord. It's also a good place to just chat with the other members of Synapse, and at that, we do occasional community events too, and those are announced within and are exclusive to the Discord. Aside from that, I'm part of a few other Discords, such as Talent Assistant Flight, Mega G Wolves, Mega G Zone, etc., etc. I also draw and write in my spare time. Some of it is up on DeviantArt. Just search the name Sage of Magi. You won't struggle to find it. But otherwise, I think that's about it. So, let's find someone to raid. We've got a couple of options. Just to gauge interest. Actually, yeah, just to gauge interest, I'll offer 3 different options. 1, Proxy is playing Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor. That's another game I might want to consider game clearing of, because the Shin Megami Tensei games are really good. Then there's Tikri, Touch Scaly Tail, who's playing Rogue Legacy 2. And for the last option, we could try Diva. Not sure what Diva Panda's doing at all, so that one's gonna be up in the air. It says just chatting, but I don't know. Seek away clout. You know what? Sure, let's use that as the raid message. Feel free to decorate it with whatever emotes you want. Many people happen to like the Fiakuri for obvious reasons. Cough, cough. And at that, feel free to stick around for the raid too. You'll get extra Fracturia so you can interact with me in the future. But otherwise, I think that's about it for today, and I'm gonna return to my void. Have a safe day, everyone. Stay cool, and most importantly, eat something tasty. Y'all deserve it. Zaya using every emote under the sun. Sure, why not? But otherwise, then again, Salakitna.